What's up, guys? It's Monday, October 24th. It's 1 p.m. and this is going to be a follow-up market update, and we're going to look at the monthly charts. We're about a week away from the monthly close, so it's good to get an idea of what could shape out in that time. So if you haven't already, join the Discord. In the bio of this video, there'll be a link to the Discord, and in there we have basically signals for a lot of different cryptos, for the dollar, for the stock market. You can see here that we have these signals all here for a lot of different things. XRP, especially if you're into that, XDC, XLM, ISO 222 coins, they hit it perfect. So we see that, 12-hour buy now, we're getting some good signals in here, 12-hour buy now for XRP. So if you haven't already, go into the description of this video, join the Discord, get access. Now let's go back into the chart. We got the monthly chart, US government bonds, 10-year yield. And we can see this hasn't happened in a very, very long time. You can see that we haven't been above the 250 moving average since 1986. That is crazy. So now it's almost 20, I think 25 years, 26 years. I believe, just doing quick math. But yeah, this is, we haven't seen this in a while, that's for sure. And you can even see that on the monthly chart, we came up and we got above the 200 moving average, came back down, retested as support, and now we're breaking up higher. So the trend is up until we really see, and on the monthly chart, it's going to be a little delayed. That's why we'll go down to the weekly until we see a cross down on the weekly stock RSI, the TSI, MACD, where the trend's up. But we can kind of see where these projected targets are for the meantime to see if we've kind of hit one. And we can see that, we've already hit we took this top, this bottom, stretched it out, Fibonacci extension 1.618, and we see 4.3%. We hit that. And if I go to the daily chart, we can see it up close. Yep, we hit it and got rejected right here. And we right now aren't close to it yet. We're 4.2%. So we have this resistance at 4.3%. If we break above that, though, this is a rapid rise and that could spell disaster. We want to stay below, that's for sure. And you can even see that we got some bearish divergence, high, lower high so far, high, higher high. So on the lower time frames, the momentum starting to weaken. And on the higher time frames, like the monthly, it looks pretty scary here, but it's going to be delayed. Weekly chart, we need to see the cross down. We don't have it yet. Now let's go into the dollar for the monthly chart. And we can see that we're still up here in these areas. Usually when you see the cross down of the momentum to the 50 line, you can start to say, hey, we're likely not going to pick up momentum to the upside. It's going to take a while for that to happen. So this is going to be delayed though. We're on the monthly chart. So keep in mind that even though we're up here, that's why we got to go down to the weekly chart to get a kind of glimpse of what could happen in the near term. And it's looking good as far as the weekly goes, stock RSI cross down. If we could see a cross down through the 50, that would be great. And then the MACD cross down, TSI cross down. It's going to be a big week. This week will really spell out how November is going to shape up, because this weekly candle close plus the monthly candle close, I would love to see a break of the trend line here and have us break down below the 110 mark. And that would shape us up well for a good November. So let us go to the 3-day chart real quick. And we're seeing the cross down. So we want to see the momentum still maintain downwards. And you can see that it is based off these wicks here. We've tried to get back up to over 114. We've been rejected down. We have the wicks, the red, and then we definitely just want to see a break of, in the short term, right here, because that was that level that when we popped through, we found support at. The body closed here, we fell down, got back above, and now we touched the wick right there. So we can fall through 111.5 and then ultimately 111. Then I feel like by the end of the month, then we'll be shaping up nicely for a good November. So let's go to the NASDAQ 100 and the monthly chart. We were looking at the weekly earlier, and we were saying that, we haven't seen this EMA ribbon flip bearish in a while. But if we zoom out a little bit more, we can see on the monthly chart that we're not gonna we have a last leg here. We're hanging on by a string, but we have this last leg that we can count on. And that's why we've been saying we've been at a critical level, because you can even see I put that horizontal line there. That was that area that we kind of consolidated. And this is a monthly chart, consolidated in October 2020 before taking off to really go from 11,200 up to 16,200. That was at the time that Bitcoin went from like 20K to 60K. And then now we pulled down. And where did we find some support at? The 50 moving average here. The EMA ribbon is still green. We're holding the 50 moving average as support. You can see that we've come close to touching it in the past, the COVID crash, the 2018 crash. So what will spell a disaster is if we close a body of a candle below the 50 moving average, because you can see the great financial crisis right here. When we close that candle body on the monthly below the 50 moving average, then we got our capitulation moment the following couple months. That was our bottom. And then ultimately we went on a huge run. So that level is sitting at 10,000, like, hold on, let me zoom in here a little bit. 10,000, yeah, like 11,000, I would say 10,800, but let's just keep it even at 11,000. That is definitely the key level to hold. So us being above it with a wick down below it, the body still above, green candle. So far, so good. You can even see the trend lines that are forming right here like that. And then we have it, the resistance like that as well too. If we now go to a lower time frame, you can see we just are ping ponging back and forth. So we want to maintain where we're at, get it probably a little higher around 11,500, maybe get above 11,700 to get above this area over here, the 200 moving average on the weekly. And then now we can start talking about taking out this trend line and ultimately of this high over here. Yeah, so around 12,900. But on the monthly chart, let's look at the bottom indicators real quick. And yeah, so wow, a lot of pressure there. That's for sure, selling pressure. But we're still maintaining above the 50, the zero line right here. So far, so good. But you can even see like what I was talking about earlier with the, we haven't seen on the weekly chart a flip of the EMA ribbon since the great financial crisis. Even look at the this indicator here. This whole time the pink's above, so that means we're bullish. When the blue gets above, we're bearish. So there's only been one time since the 2000s, 2003, that the blue's gotten above. And that was the great financial crisis. Then the pink was above the whole time. And then now the blue just got back above. That was around May of this year. So that, you know, we haven't seen this type of kind of indicators like being where they're at since the great financial crisis around like 14 years ago, 13 years ago. So, yeah, crazy times, but we're hanging out on that key support. If we break that, it's likely that we can start doing some projections. If we're looking at the short term, let's see if we actually hit. Yeah, so we could come down to 9,650, but I want to actually pull this out and go to here. And we could come down to 8,000. Like if we break this level where we're at, like 10,600, take out this previous low, we could have a rapid fall down to 8,000 around there. Something even more terrible would be if we came to retest or come down to touch the 200 moving average down here. That would be, yeah, a disaster. But we're going to err on the side of that won't happen and that we won't go into a Great Depression type moment. So this is, as far as the monthly chart, pretty okay. I don't like to see us hang in this EMA ribbon though. We don't really hang in here unless we're going to fall lower. We really just touch and then bounce, touch, bounce, touch, bounce. But I mean, given the macroeconomic conditions, anything goes at this point. But now Bitcoin on the monthly chart, you can see that all this dark red since January of this year in the MACD, and now it looks like we're shaping up to get our first like white kind of candle right there. And if we look to the past bear market, you can see that when the dark red, when we first got our first white, that was when the trend shifted. That was this green candle right here, the first one after falling 50%, green candle. And then what happened there on after was 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 months of green candles. and we went from like 3,000 all the way up to 14,000. It was like a 300% increase. So that's a good sign. And then you can even see the same kind of reaction as far as this indicator down here, where, the pink's just going down like this, pink's going down like this, the blue gets above right here, blue gets above right here. And then ultimately this next monthly candle in November will show a lot, because if the blue starts to cross down, then that will be reminiscent to this back here. And then if we have a green candle, reminiscent to all this. I think Q1 of next year is going to be very good. I think it's going to be explosive if everything lines up and starts to react the same as back here, and we start to see a cross up here. That's what we need to see. But I mean, like, if you're looking at the chart right now and see that we're on a critical support, you can see the pink Fibonacci moving average. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of hanging on top of it as support. Back here, we've held that as support, came down close to touch it here as support. We touch it as support here. So it's very normal that in bear market bottoms that we touch the pink Fibonacci moving average. Now, like you can see right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. It's nothing out of the ordinary. What would be out of the ordinary, though, is if we actually do make a lower low. We would have never done that before in the history of Bitcoin, where we don't find support on the monthly chart for the pink Fibonacci moving average. So if my video earlier, I said, I mean, if we do make a lower low, we could come down to 14,000. I think it was around that area we said. But yeah, that would break a lot of things in the chart. That would be something that hasn't happened before, but likely it would be a result of the stock market breaking down, everything else breaking down. But I believe cryptos, in like a huge crash type of moment, a black swan event, everything would crash, kind of like COVID. But I feel as if it would be the grand finale, and then cryptos would bounce back hard, commodities would bounce back hard in that type of position. Now let's go to XRP monthly chart. XRP monthly chart, where I want to see us close above in 7 days, definitely 50 cents, because 50 cents is definitely a psychological level, but as well as like that's where this 50 moving average is sitting. And we weren't able to close September above it. We got rejected below it. And I would like to see us actually close a candle body above it, and then have November's candle body on the monthly stay above 50 cents. If we can hold above there, it's golden. Golden. We're in a good spot. And you can see that we have this trend line that we found it's just such a key level. Now I'm going to go to a lower time frame, and you can see that where we got rejected when we first had a rise, bam, rejection, bam, rejection. It's because it's a very high time frame trend line all the way back from April of 2021. So it's been about a year and like 6 months now. Crazy. But this trend line has been rejecting all the way through. Rejection, 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 all the way through. Rejection, 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 rejection. It's when we get above it, like this, bam, hold that support, bam, that we can expect rapid rise like that. So all eyes on that level, like that's where we got to get above. And then I really just want to see us hold the EMA ribbon and as support on the daily, and I don't want to see us cross below it and get rejected by it. If we were to go down below the EMA ribbon, get rejected here and start to head down lower with these indicators here crossing down, showing momentum to the downside, yeah, we're not there yet. So I don't want to see that. If it's going to happen, we need to see it happen very soon here. And I do think there's a lot of narratives and a lot of events coming up, a lot of catalysts that could definitely just out of nowhere, just shoot this. We're seeing a lot of people on Twitter now. And like, I'm going to share that in my newsletter, like David Schwartz saying something about he hasn't been this optimistic on XRP in 6 years. And you know, who's been calling since September about this indicator hasn't flashed since 6 years ago before XRP pulled 80x in 80 days. We've been on top of it. Like the technicals and the charts and what's been going on is very reminiscent right before the boom. And then David Schwartz and a lot of things coming out recently are starting to put some weight behind that being the case. And like, I believe it is 100% true. I think we're going to see something that really just shoots us out of here. We've been tracking the Stargate strategy signals, the the 12-day buy signal. Guys, like, we haven't seen this in 6 years. We're in 2022. This signal flashed in 2017, right before we shot. So like 5 years, but like long entry, buy now, long entry, buy now, right before we shot. There was no other signal for this besides right before we shot. And then it called the exact tops. So it told you to sell right here, sell right here. And then it didn't flash at all this whole time. And now it just flashed again. It didn't even tell you to sell here or sell here because those weren't the tops. Like, we're just doing this pattern way more stretched out. Like, what I believe is like this right here is equivalent to this right here. And then this right here is equivalent to this right here. It's just way more stretched out. And this kind of went on a more of like an incline and kind of tricked us out. Whereas this kind of went pretty much sideways, but ultimately came back to retest this area, where ultimately we came back to retest the same area in comparison to here. Right. And then we got the same signal right before we popped. So that's what I believe is still going to be the case. And you can even see on the 12-day chart, which closes another candle in 3 days and 7 hours. Look where we're holding as support. We came down to test the 200 moving average here on the 12-day around like 41.5 cents. And you can see that these indicators down here are still crossing up with momentum. The stock RSI piercing through the 50 line, still heading vertical. MACD still rising with green. TSI has crossed right there. RSI just needs to get above the 50. And then the pink needs to cross through the blue. But by that time, I mean, like, this is a 12-day chart, so it's very high time frame. By that time, see you later. So we're very close to the moment, I believe. If we pierce above 58 cents, we get above the EMA ribbon right there, and then it's see you later in my eyes. So that's what I see there. And yeah, we're going to keep it at that. So that's what I'm seeing as far as the higher time frame stuff, monthly charts. I'm going to look at the monthly chart for XRP one more time. And we can see that we're starting to cross up here, showing some momentum, but we're not through at least the 20 line on the monthly yet. We're maintaining above the 0 line in the TSI, which is good, but we need to see a cross up here soon so we don't keep heading down lower here. And then if we look at the weekly chart real quick, we can see that TSI is still vertical here, crossing up. Stock RSI needs to cross back up so we can pick up momentum. And that will bring the pink above the blue. The blue will come down. RSI is hanging right at that 50 line. And then I think that's our golden ticket. If all those stars align there, we're going to send it. Absolutely send it. Yeah, 56 cents. So that's it for this video. It was a follow-up video. I want to look at some more higher time frame stuff. And if you haven't already, link in the bio, join the Discord. And then I will see you guys in the newsletter today.